Happy sunny morning over here at Camp Downing. It's funny, after I was done with the first video, I all of a sudden got like this major a combination of stage fright and I don't know, real anxiety about making another video. And I was like, I can't stop there. The story's not even started. There's like a huge amount of so we got here in 2014. It's 2021 now. I mean, we've had all sorts of epic things happen in the world since then. I think one of the things I'm nervous about is there's a little tiny really dark chapter that happens, you know, that exhaustion that kicks in after your inspiration's gone. So I think I've got a little bit of foreboding about getting to that chapter, but it's so gorgeous and sunny this morning. I figured I'd just say hey and show you some cool stuff. This wall boarding in here is the original exterior of the old cabin. We had so many awesome friends come, but especially LJ and D Mead, who spent so much time, oh my gosh, very gently removing all the old nails from all these boards. And oh my gosh, I have to back a little tiny bit. Well, so this year, 2021, my big heart thought, here, let me sit down. One of my big heart feelings, you know how some years you have a word that defines your year. I think last year for 2020 it was just chaos, but being 2021, for some reason I just feel really thankful, really thankful. I'm thankful for what I have in a way that it's a richness, this resonating richness that I feel really deeply in my heart. And just, I'm so thankful for where we've come, the people that have helped us get here. So many people, so many friends, so many family, my brother-in-law Jeremy. When we first got up here, we weren't quite sure if our family was going to live here permanently or if it was going to actually be a family camp, and we were going to live here for a couple years. And then John and I were thinking of moving to Portsmouth and doing an art gallery and a coffee shop. We love coffee culture. We both worked coffee shops, and John went to college for photography, and I have drawn and painted and written music, and anything that was creative was something that I put effort into my whole life. That's just my love language for my own energy. And so we didn't actually know if this was going to be our place or if we were actually making this place for the whole family. So that's one of the reasons why we called it Camp Downing. It's because we wanted everyone to feel comfortable coming up to camp, even though we were the ones primarily here, and that this would create that window of time where we could, I talked about freedom last time, this would be the place where we could, get ourselves out of any debt that we did have. We have student loans from John going to college, and give us the opportunity to actually, like I said before, pay bills, dig down, save, create, and then launch into hopefully this new dream. And then it got kind of complicated where with this property went next. I know now, we've been here, we're coming up on this summer is going to be our 8th year, and this home is definitely our home. And all of our family is always welcome, whether they're from the Downing branch. John's is one of 5 brothers, and it's fun because if you look out the back window, there's actually 5 bright white birch trees, and I think of the 5 guys every single time I see those trees, and I pray for them because they're my bros. And it's fun because in my family, I have an older brother and a younger sister, and we're tight. But I've never had, and it's funny because so my sister's younger than me and my brother's older than me. And so jumping into having an older brother, my brother David's 18 months older than me, so I always felt like he was a twin. But I've always been really close to him, so I just been able to jump into having more brothers. Like John and I were friends for years before we got married, and I just adopted all of his brothers as just extra brothers. And one of the novelty things I never had was a little brother. And so I definitely snagged Matt as my little brother, and everybody else kind of treated him as, you know, Matty Matt. But I was like, oh no, this is my little bro. And so like the idea, like being able to create a camp for the family, and create a home for the family, something as a resource, something that saves and keeps it in the family. Because, like I said, mom and dad were just at like, kind of nerves and resources end with this. There've been a lot of just like uncomfortable social interactions and just stuff that takes your joy away from having a property. They experienced quite a bit of that, so they were not interested in here, and they were like, let's turn it into something gold, because they wanted, originally they're like, well, I want to at least be able to invest it into something that's good for all the whole family. And so like, let's do that, let's invest this, and we'll stay there for a couple of years, and then we'll turn it into the camp that everyone uses, like a timeshare type of thing, or be able to maybe by then another brother will need it. And so our thought was like, almost like, you know, it would be for us for a chunk of years, and then someone else was going to need it. And so we were investing in what the family would need. And then life has definitely taken it in completely different directions than that. Two-fifths of the brothers have moved to Canada, and they have no intention of coming back. Micah married a wonderful Canadian woman, and I am blessed to have her as another sister. And Joel, John's second oldest brother, was married to Shannon like before we came up here. And I'm so blessed to call her a sister as well. Like, I am incredibly blessed with the relationship that our families have. We're still waiting to see where the other two bros go, but you know what? If they don't get married, marriage doesn't define you as a person, because they're off the hook. Anyone else can yenta them up the wazoo, but if they want to just do their own thing, be bachelors, you know, whatever. But long story short, it's not like so Joel and Shannon have a great house down in Laconia, and they also have buco children. So they have 5. And they are amazing children, but they do not fit in teeny tiny Camp Downing. Camp Downing isn't small. By the time, like I said, we put an extra addition on. I'll fill in details about how that all rolled, but we realized pretty soon that having a family as big as we did, extended, like we're gonna make this something that the family can use, then just putting 2 lofts in here and then putting all of our children in one loft and us in the other loft, it wasn't gonna work for everyone to ever utilize that unless one of the bachelor brothers came up here. So we went ahead and added an extra half story, making it a full, because it had a half story, so we just popped the roof up a little bit. That took a lot more resources than we anticipated, and a lot more time and energy than we anticipated, but we ended up with 3 bedrooms upstairs. Technically, on tax purposes, there's only 2 because there's only 1 with closets. And I have to laugh about that because we kind of used the floor. We were so enthusiastic and getting in here and just making do with what was here and making it better that we didn't make a whole lot of like renovation changes to the floor plan or anything. Like we did a lot of little tiny design tweaks to make all these different angles work in the square footage that we have, especially with the kitchen layout. That took us like 4 years of designing to get the counters right so that the most function could happen with the most people in the smallest footprint. Even down to like we rolled, like just rounded the corners on one side of the countertop so that like when you're coming through you don't hip check it, or it doesn't catch you when you're like pulling groceries in or something like that. But I totally forgot what I was saying. I'm sorry. So we were talking about rooms, we were talking about things. So yeah, at that point it was more versatile, but the Canadian family doesn't want to come back down. So there's 2 brothers out there. The Laconia family has a great setup with their their house is beautiful down there, and they would have to put an addition on to move up here. Matt is the only one that could possibly at some point be at all interested, but his life is going in different bachelor directions, not like, hey, I think I'd like to settle down for a while in the quiet town of Rumney. That's not really where he's at. He's got all sorts of hopes and dreams. And then Mom and Dad have had a really rough run of it. So they retired 2 years ago from Dad's pastoring job over in Farmington. And in the last couple of years, Dad has had, so Dad's proven that in our family lineage, we actually have a cat-like response to death, like 9 lives. Like, he has had such severe health problems that we have thought that he was going to pass from us at least a half a dozen times. And that's incredible, watching him, like, God be like, oh, look, you're not done here yet. Pull him back, put him back on the earth. And, but the poor guy, I mean, he's got the rough side of this now, because, I think he had heart attacks and triple bypass and strokes, like lots of strokes. And, there's other things. And so they left him, so he can't play his guitar, and he can't, walk with the strength that he used to. He used to do like road biking and stuff like that, and he played the guitar really, really well, and liked to sing with it. And Mom and him would do music, so Mom would play the flute and sing, and he'd do the guitar and do singing it all as well. And they were their own worship team for their church as well. And Dad would also be writing songs at like almost every family gathering. He's got a really strong imp streak, and so he'd make these stories up and these songs and these ballads of Black Bart, I believe. Oh my gosh, what I wouldn't pay for recordings of the ballads of Black Bart. Like, so many times I remember visiting John as a teen and just dying laughing at the slapstick poetry coming out of the back of the living room, and we were like, really? And it was just, it was very enjoyable. But Dad's been robbed of all of those things, and he's in a wheelchair now, and so that would make the downstairs floor print not work for them in camp anymore either. Like, we're in the process of putting a front porch on now that you saw in the last video, and we're hoping that the back of the porch will be able to, like, we'll make a full ramp system so Dad can come in the house. But even coming in the house, it's not like, it's like he can come to visit, but and he could stay the night if he really wanted to, but it's still, the accommodation is definitely not handicapped here. So now it's down to, like, literally nobody else in the family can really use it the way we had originally thought. But it's amazing when you spend a lot of time and sweat and tears somewhere that I don't know if you call it like a bond. Like, John and I moved a lot before we came up here, so we used to joke that, like, we had our like, you know, say you put down roots when you go somewhere. Oh yeah, I'm gonna put down roots. Or where do you put down roots? Like, our roots were in a terracotta pot and they moved with us. The song by Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros called Home, that was our theme song for years, because home was just where each other was, whether we were house sharing with somebody, or if we were down in Connecticut, or we were in Jaffrey, or we were in Ringe, or we were in any number of places that we had lived, Bennington. Like, it was really funny. We realized at, like, our 11th year mark that we had lived in more houses than the years we'd been married, and we were like, oh man, we're pretty resilient. But I think by the time we got up here and we put enough work into here, there was a settling that happened that neither John or I anticipated. And we'd come home, and I remember photographing a wedding with him one time, and we were tired. We were so tired, and we were at this gorgeous, gorgeous venue, beautiful couple, beautiful wedding, and we had put in like 12 hours of work, and incredible incredible people, and I love the story of weddings. I love the story of love. I love photographing all those feelings and thoughts and emotions, and it's a big, exhausting, and beautiful work to be a wedding photographer. But we came home totally, like, the last of our energy had been out, and you just walked in, and it was funny because, like, I don't even know if we had the wall boarding totally up. Like we still have plywood floors, so we got like the plywood, we got the windows are like, some of them are in, some of them aren't. Some of you got none of the trims up. See, none of our trim is up yet. I got on to yeah, we still haven't gotten our trim yet. But it doesn't matter. Like, you came home and you're all home, and there was something about it that was just so home. And you can actually let out that long exhale and relax and be like, all right, wait, I know I'm supposed to be there. And I think this is part of the return of the gifting. And this is kind of like that 2021 feeling of just feeling thankful and just realizing, like, when God is good to see things through. And when he sent us up here, and like, even that dark chapter that I haven't been able to work up the nerve to tell you yet. And, but we're on the other side of it, and we're walking into this place that, God is here in the blessing and the peace that we feel here. And it's not the place necessarily, because John and I had talked about, like, we're working out like insurance stuff, and like, if the house burnt down, like, what would we do after all this effort? And both of us actually had this really clean feeling about, like, it's still not the house that makes it your home. I don't feel like we couldn't make another home here, and just really realizing that it's more of a God's presence being a gift that makes you feel at home than a building. And that's why the chaos here of the construction and the project and not having things finished doesn't ruin the peace. Oh, baby kitty. Baby kitty. We got 2 baby kitties. But just realizing, like, and I think that's the thing with like 2020, like, with the whole pandemic and the conflicting information and then the presidential election, just everything felt like a lack of, like, am I American? Do I feel American? Do I feel like I'm the wrong color? Do I feel like I'm the wrong belief system? Do I feel like, what does this even mean? And realizing that none of that defines your thankfulness. None of that defines your home. None of that defines your purpose. And if you're able to just trust God with the day and with your location and your personal condition, I know that we've had injuries and health problems, and trusting God with your condition, even if that just means that your hormones are off, or you have a chronic injury that will never heal properly, or your teeth have fallen out, or your vision isn't perfect. But if you're able to not hate your weakness and not hate the chaos in your life, and just kind of like not ignore it. I can think of is when you plant a seed in the garden, that seed is not obsessed with the dirt that you put it in. It's not obsessed with the plants next to it. It's not obsessed with anything. It's like, it's happy for the water. It's happy that the sun came out, and it doesn't change its environment by, like, worry doesn't fix anything. Worry is not productive. Worry just destroys you on a molecular and spiritual level. And so a lack of worry isn't a lack of care. But I am so thankful to be here. So thankful that I know that my God knows the details of the future and the past, and that I can trust that he knows what's going on, and I do my homework and I do my best in the day. There's a verse recently in Psalms that just keeps coming up, and it says, do not worry about tomorrow, for today has enough worry of its own. So you carpe diem, you seize the day, You're thankful for the things that you have today. You don't hold your peace and joy hostage for the things you're hoping for tomorrow. I am thankful for today. I'm thankful for here. I'm thankful so much for my family and getting here. And I just feel so blessed in the chaos, even though we're only halfway there. At Camp Downing, and halfway there, you know, it's so funny. Like, if I was only happy if I arrived, I wouldn't be happy halfway. And like, I think I've said that before, it's the journey. Like, you have to figure out how to have joy in the journey, because the journey, that just goes on forever. You, like if this house burnt down and we had to rebuild the whole thing, that means that we'd be back at zero and then starting over again. And if I wasn't happy today, I won't be happy. I won't be happy ever. So you have to try to figure out, like, what are the things that you were just thankful for, and then do your best to be smart, but don't worry to the point where we're not that important. We're mortal. Our lives are short. You do the best you can while you're here, and then you have to just let go of the rest. Because literally, the more you worry about it, the less productive you're gonna be while you're here. And you want to make the time that you're here worth it. In Ecclesiastes, the book of Ecclesiastes, if you've never read it, the poetry in there is beautiful. So that's in the Bible, Old Testament, right after the Psalms and Proverbs. It's only like 5 chapters, maybe 8, something like that. It's like my favorite book, but the poetry in there is incredible. And it's so good at just resetting your, you know, there's nothing new under the sun. There's a time and there's a season for everything. And if you can rock the season that you're in and just be able to celebrate the little things, even if that's like the fact that it's really sunny and beautiful today, or like I had a friend who brought me these beautiful daffodils, or oh my gosh, so the kids are over at my parents' house today, and you know, like your kids don't go places during the 2020 2021 window. It's not like they go places anymore. So we've been home, we've been homeschooling. Last year, I also asked my parents to watch the kids for a day, but this is my first day where I've been home without John. I'm not going to do the math, but I know it's really, I'm just going to be like, I am the richest girl in the world right now with me and my sunshine and my daffodils. And I'm going to be just as rich when my kids come back. I don't know if you heard and I feel really rich. I have little kitties walking around. And it's not because today, you have to find, I could find a million things to complain about and I could ruin my day. Or I could just like count my blessings. Oh, I feel like there's like, okay, my mother-in-law Beverly knows all the songs. And I'm pretty sure at this point she would start singing this song called Count Your Blessings that would like go back to like the old revival times and Sunday school. Like she's got all the songs memorized. It's like if I could remember facts and poetry the way she remembers songs, I would feel super smart. And I don't. I even have a hard time remembering the verses to Christmas carols, and I love Christmas carols. All right, well, this is getting very long, so I love you to pieces, and I hope you guys have a great day. I just want to remind you, like, the worry will ruin today, it'll ruin tomorrow, it'll ruin the next 10 years. Fear is not your friend. Figuring out how to be thankful. Like this, you're just feeling so grateful. Just being so thankful that the sun and the moon and the stars and the seasons do not listen to the CDC. They don't listen. They don't need direction. They have great wisdom even on their own. They don't worry about the things, the global warming, the global changes. You know, the planet is wise and it just keeps going like God said it. It's like a big clock, and just watching this great world turn on its axis. This is getting a really long video. So, peace out.